Hey, can you guys see me? Why can't you see me? Let me try that again. Why isn't it working? Oh, wait, I'm there. Okay. That was weird. I don't know why that was doing that. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm a little bit late jumping in. I got kind of wrapped up in Facebook dealing with some stuff, and I looked down and said, oh, it's 8 o'clock. So, hopefully you will see me in a second, because I can see me. So, there we go. Okay, good. You see me now. Good. Okay. Awesome. So let me just check comments. Hi, Robin. Hi, Katie. Hi, Tom. Hi, Shannon. Hi, Kate. Hi, Guy. Who else is here? Okay. I think that's everybody who's here so far. And I just want to start off by us all kind of sending some healing energy Kate's way, who's been sick, and I'm so glad you're here, and I'm sorry you haven't been feeling well. So let's all just take a minute. Send her some healing love. Okay, Kate. I hope you can feel that. I hope it makes you feel better. I'm sorry. It's been a rough day. Salutations to you, Guy. I've been reading Charlotte's Web to my son. So, I hope you guys are doing okay. Things seem to be lightening for me. It's been a rough couple of months. I don't know if other people have noticed that, but I've had a rough couple of months. Just a lot of questioning, a lot of changes for me. Good stuff, but a lot of upheaval. So I don't know if you guys have been going through that too. One other thing, I'm going to shut my door. I've had my closet door open so that it would cool down with the air conditioning, because it was 100 degrees here today, and it has not dipped below 90 in many days, and it's, I think, supposed to on Saturday, but it's just been sweltering hot. You know, my son seems to deal okay with death. We talk about death a lot. I don't know if it's because he's a Scorpio, but we talk about death quite a lot in my house. Death is okay. Not knowing the outcome of what's going to happen causes him angst. So my husband is reading him Harry Potter, and there is a lot of, what's going to happen? Don't read this part. But when it comes to the actual death, he seems to do okay with that. I'm not sure why. Maybe just because we talk about death a lot. He's very interested in graveyards and all of those things. So it is going below. Yeah, it's cooling down a little bit at night, but not much. And we had a blackout the other night, and it was very hot, although it's not too bad because my husband, we're trying to go without air conditioning as much as possible. We have a brick house and we have shutters on the windows. So really, if you shutter the windows when it gets hot, and don't let the sun heat up your house as much, and because it's a brick house, once it gets cool, it stays kind of cool. And if you make sure you're not wearing a lot of clothes when you're in the house, and just kind of and have fans going, it's okay. And the nice thing about that, one thing we learned in Indonesia, when you're not going in and out of air conditioning, you tolerate the heat better. When you're in air conditioning, it's very hard to go into the heat. So we often crank the air conditioning at night if it's over like 85 still in the bedrooms. But other than that, we don't. So so I have been, if you've noticed, doing a lot of searching on YouTube for different kind of soul path kind of information. I've always loved TED Talks because I'm a nerd, and I have been checking out a lot of, there's so many TED Talks now that there's TEDx, and I've been checking out a lot of those, and a lot have seemed to apply to this workshop. I'm not boring you with all of them, but if you check my feed every day, when I like them, it automatically goes to my Twitter, which automatically goes to my Facebook. So I only like the ones that are good. So if you want to check them out, but there have been a few that I've put in the Facebook group. So so check those out. One I just happened to check out about not caring so much about what other people think. And that wasn't a TED Talk. That was just something I happened on, that like when I had a TED Talk up, it was one of the other ones that was mentioned. And I think that is really, really important for the topic for this week, is sort of self-forgiveness and letting things go. And I think one of the things he talks about in that video, it's a very long video, it's an hour long, I think, so not everybody is going to watch it, I'm sure, and some of the most important things I think are near the end. But one of the things he talks about is that we all have our own self-image, what we want, what we think of ourselves, and we're trying so hard to get other people to think the same thing about us. And again, it's trying to control something we don't have control over. We don't have control over other people. So you can bend over backwards always for everyone in your life, and there will still be someone who's disappointed in you because you didn't do enough. And so trying to, if we see ourselves as a giving, caring, and my, for instance, is I see myself as an empath. But I see myself, especially as a counselor, as someone who likes to care for other people and take care of other people. And one thing you learn as a counselor, especially if you have worked with borderline personalities, if you have worked with a borderline personality, it's really interesting to work with those kinds of people when you are a people pleaser, because borderline personalities tend to love you, love you, love you, and they will tell you, you are the best counselor I have ever had. None of my other counselors have ever understood me. You are the best. You're changing my life. And as a people pleaser, we love that. That's great. I'm being validated. I'm so good. And then they turn around and they hate your guts. And working in substance abuse, I would have people come in and really be like, I called your office last week and I couldn't get an appointment for that day, and so I went out and used that night. You get those kind of things from borderline personalities, and that you will be blamed quite a lot. And so one of the things you learn is that you are not that important in other people's lives. Even as a counselor, even as a good counselor, you may influence people's lives in certain ways and you may be a help to them, but it's really about them. And that is terrifying. And that is also a huge release. I don't make anyone go out and use drugs. My behavior has very little effect on that one way or the other. I may be used as an excuse by somebody, and every once in a while, if someone is on the edge, I may help talk someone down and have them not use. But in the huge realm of things, I am not that important. I am the lead player in my own play, and everyone else in my play is really bit parts, even though they are important to me. And it's the same for everyone else. I am not a lead player in most people's plays. So, what does that mean? That means that me trying to make everyone happy is not going to happen, and so I can let it go. Now, that's easier said than done, but one of the things that he emphasizes in this video that I think is really important is if you're trying to be everything to everybody, you'll often hear if you're trying to be everything to everybody, you're not going to be anything to anybody. But I think the more important thing that he brings up is you're not going to be authentic to yourself. Hey, Kimberly. And you are important in this equation. You are actually, in many ways, the most important person, especially in this group. And he emphasizes this too, that most of us in this group are people pleasers. We're trying to make other people happy. So it's very unlikely that if we tap into what is really important to us and we use that as our guideline instead of the praise and the disapproval of other people, if we really go with like what is important to us as a core, generally in this group, what is important to us as a core is not going to be something that harms other people. If anything, it's going to be something that brings a lot of joy and benefit to the world from this group of people. So again, and often a lot of us, and I know I've felt this way, if I don't prove to everybody, this has been a big thing at my job, if I don't get the approval of everyone by being so wonderful at my job, then it shows that maybe I'm not a good worker, maybe I'm not really diligent, maybe I'm not as good at what I do as I think I am. And I have been faced with a boss who, no matter what you do, is going to give you disapproval if you make any kind of mistake. And it is inevitable that I am going to make a mistake. And so I learned after years of that I can kill myself at work and still get disapproval, or I can do my job well, because I always do my job well, and really live up to my own expectations and not expect in one way or the other anybody else that I am going to get approval or disapproval from anybody else, because I don't get it. I get disapproval and not approval generally. And it doesn't change at all my work ethic. And so what does that have to do with self-forgiveness? So I have spent a lot of time in my life beating myself up about maybe hurting someone. And one of the things that I have partially learned and I'm continuing to learn is that I'm going to hurt people, occasionally unintentionally. Sometimes I'm going to hurt people intentionally if they are walking all over my boundaries, and that's okay too. And the flip side is I am also going to occasionally hurt people's feelings without ever knowing, not ever doing anything that I think could hurt their feelings. Because there are some people who are just going to have their feelings hurt no matter what I do. And so in many ways, I have to let that go. I have to let mistakes go because I am human. It took, so this month I actually got an email saying, I want you to account for each of these errors that you made. I made 4 errors last month out of 800 things that I did. I did 800 invoices and 4 of them had errors. Honestly, I believe there are probably a lot more errors than that didn't get caught. And the fact that the people at my work, don't say, wow, you have an under 1% error rate. That's amazing. Instead, they say, why do you have a 0.5% error rate? Allows me to let go of any sort of, my immediate reaction getting that email still, and for many, many years, was my stomach would sink. How could I have possibly made those errors? Now I'm thinking, damn, 4 errors out of 800? I rock. And so it took really, really unrealistic expectations for me to let go of my own unrealistic expectations. I am going to make mistakes. I am going to make mistakes more than 1% of the time in my life. And if I don't, then I'm not trying anything hard. Music is a good example for me. I play in a group that requires a lot more coordination in my hands than I have. And I have had to let go of being good at that. I am not going to be good. I'm not going to have an innate talent for the music that we play. I'm going to have to work hard at it to be mediocre. And that is a good effort too. And that is worth every second. And so it has taken 40 years. And I'm sure 10, 20 years from now, I will also look back and say, geez, even at this age, I was letting a lot more get to me than I should have. And that these mistakes are important to make. And it's when I'm playing really small that I don't make a lot of mistakes. And I don't want to play small in my life anymore. And I hope you don't either. And so forgiving yourself and knowing that that was the path you needed to take, and you needed to make those mistakes, and you need to make more mistakes. And as long as you aren't going out there and purposely trying to hurt people, unless it's about setting your own boundaries and taking care of yourself, then make mistakes and then let them go and learn from them. And it's all we can do. We're human. So that kind of leads into the meditation. We'll talk a little bit more about it afterwards, but I kind of just want to jump into it without talking about it too much, because otherwise I will analyze it to death. So I'm going to spray a little bit of bergamot to clear. And just do a little bit of circling of the energy, just because I've been talking and talking and talking. So, massaging your hand and circling the energy around. On the other side. So if you want to bring great things to this world, make lots of mistakes. And not only forgive yourself, but in some ways, occasionally applaud yourself, because you're working hard if you're making those mistakes. Okay. Let's take some deep breaths. If you did some smudging or burning some incense, or doing a spray, smell that aroma. Or if you anoint your chakra points or anoint your hands and your feet, whatever works for you. And let go of the worries of the day. Forgive ourselves for the little worries of the day. And forgive yourself even when you don't believe that. Kate and I talked a bit about you got to fake it for a little bit. Self-forgiveness is really hard. And sometimes you have to take good care of yourself even when you don't quite believe it in your heart yet. All right. Close your eyes. And I want you to begin to walk down the beach at night. The stars above you are bright. The sounds of the waves on the beach are relaxing, and they really wash away any further worries and concerns that you may have. Feel the sand under your feet. The air is warm and comfortable. And ahead you see a light from a tower. And I want you to leave the beach and walk up a grassy hill to the tower. And soon you are at the base of the tower, and the door is ajar as if it has been opened for you. And you know you are to enter, and you do. And I want you to begin walking up the staircase into the tower towards the top. And as you enter the room at the top of the tower, you are a bit surprised not to see a light, as you thought this might be a lighthouse. It appears almost as if it's a lighthouse. And there are lights on in the room, but the center of the room is taken up by a large telescope pointing out into the sky. There's also a guide here in this room and scientific equipment all around the room. Go over to your guide. If this is a new guide, you may ask their name and greet them. The guide leads you over to a diorama in the room that is of all of the planets in our solar system. And they are in a certain configuration in the diorama. Your guide hits a button on the side of the diorama, and the whole thing lights up. There's a small dot on the Earth, and each of the planets have a colored light that connects it to the Earth. A line of light. There may even be a color around the planet, almost as if the planet has an aura. And your guide points to a screen on the side of the diorama. And that screen it's an LCD screen that, LCD. It's a screen that has your name and your birth date appearing on it. And you know that this diorama shows the planets the time of your birth. And you may point to any line connecting and ask your guide what it means. You may ask about Mercury, the planet of communications in your life, and how that has affected your outlook on the world and how you communicate with the world and those around you. You may ask about Venus and what and who you love in this world. And don't worry if your guide tells you about something other than the short summaries I am giving you, as these planets mean much more than just these little clips that I am mentioning. You may ask about Mars and where you act and put your energy, what fuels you. You may ask about Jupiter and what brings you meaning in this world, what your soul path is, where you find importance. You may ask about Saturn, and this is where you have determination, as this path will not be easy, but you will learn this lesson well. Where are your obstacles that once overcome will teach you so much? You can ask about Uranus and your intuition and how that intuition plays out in your life and where it will grow and where you will learn. You can ask about Neptune and your dreams. You can ask about Pluto and the power in your life, where you have power, how power affects you. And as I said, the planets have many other meanings as well. You may also ask about the moon and where your soul lives, what is most important to you in the inner parts. And you may ask about the sun and where you are going with your life. Ask any further questions that you have, and your guide can help you. And maybe give you insight into where these planets help to create how unique you are. Imagine all the configurations of the planets and what variety that brings us in the world, and different ways of looking at things, different struggles, different paths, different opportunities, and different obstacles, different mistakes that we have to make in order to learn the lessons that we need to learn. And now your guide leads you over to the telescope. The telescope shows you the sky right now, but it is a special telescope as it shows you all the planets, even the ones that may not really be visible in the sky, especially right now. There are buttons on the side of the telescope with each of the planets' names. Hit one of the planets and then look through the telescope. And this is a very special telescope, as it doesn't just show you what the planet looks like, but you may see colors, pictures. You may be sent words or thoughts or feelings with the guidance that you need right now and the energies that are playing out right now. Choose another planet to look at and receive the energies of this moment. Ask your guide any questions you may have about what you have seen. Thank your guide. Ask if your guide needs anything from you, and if you can, give it willingly. And when you are ready, walk back down the staircase and exit the tower, walking back down the hill to the beach. Begin to hear the sounds around your physical body. Feel where you are sitting. Wiggle your fingers and toes. And when you feel ready, open your eyes. We'll do a little bit more massage to release you from this meditation and return you to your body. If you have brought something to drink or something to eat, this is the time to help return you to your physical body. And I hope you enjoyed that. And one thing I want to emphasize from this meditation is there are some astrologers out there. KV from Aquarius Nation is a good example, that a lot of her astrology comes from channeling. So although I think she did do research, she does not necessarily look up all the charts when she's doing astrological readings. She knows what the planets mean and things like that, and she does, I think, keep a bit updated on what's going on. But her readings are not based on what she is based on a chart she's looking at. So if you are getting other information about the planets from your guide or from looking through the telescope, really go with that. And one of the reasons why I decided to, well, I didn't decide. I mean, it came to me in a meditation, but I think astrology was calling to me for this week, is because I do really find astrology is helpful in not expecting yourself to be perfect, and not even expecting that there is a perfect. From looking at astrological charts, the little bit that I have in terms of birth charts, you look at all of the different combinations for different people. And I think I talk about sometimes my sister is a Taurus, and I have and that is an earth sign. And a Taurus is really about the physical world. It's about beauty. It's ruled by Venus. And it is about things being beautiful around you. My sister's stunning. My sister dresses beautifully. Her house is immaculate. The beauty around her is very important. I am a Pisces. I am up in the air. It is very hard for me to ground myself. And often, as an egocentric person, as many of us are, I would think that my way in certain areas was the best way. And I look at other people's charts and I think, even especially in counseling, trying to tell people how I may have worked through a similar problem isn't always going to be helpful for them, because we think so differently. We have different lessons to learn. We have different focuses. We have different soul paths. And in this way, your mistakes you needed to make. And I will need to make different mistakes. And I will need to keep making them until I learn lessons that I need to make, that I need to learn. And that is just our paths. Being perfect is not an option. I am never going to have this sense of beauty that my sister has. And I think it's a wonderful trait. My house is never going to be perfectly clean. As much as I would like it to be, it's just not. We can only put our focus in so many places. We can't put our focus everywhere. And so, am I going to be Holly Homemaker? Never. Because it's just not where my priorities are. I would rather lay down and read a book. And so, that's okay. So that's what leads me to our cards for tonight. So it made me start thinking about past lives. If you believe in karma, sometimes some of the mistakes we are making is because they are lessons that we have agreed to learn. If you believe in that. Not everybody believes in past lives. I think these are still useful for thinking about where our blockages may be, and why we may be making some of the mistakes, and why we may be holding on to some of the things that we are holding on to, even though they may not be serving us anymore. And where did my pen go? So I think I know all of you who have checked in. If there is anyone here who has not said hello in the comments but would like a reading, let me know. Otherwise, I have a list of the usual suspects that are here, and I will go through each of you. Yeah, I have everybody who is here so far. So I'm going to pull cards for all of you. And I may do that rather quickly since I may need to do readings for, I may need to read the book for a lot of these. So I am going to start off with, let me start off with Robin, because I owe Robin a reading because she really helped me out with something on Facebook today. Thank you, Robin. Robin, I actually have 2 readings for you. So Robin, your totem animal, because I told Robin, because Robin signed up for my newsletter, so I am giving her a totem animal for July. Your totem animal is the llama, and the message is, it has been a long haul for you, but you are just about there, so hang in there. And I hope that is true for you. So let me go back to where I am. Your past life card is the arts. Oh, Bree. I think that's Bree. I know you, I believe. Is that Brielle? Or is that somebody different? I know a Brielle who's been in here on and off. So you have the arts. So let me see what that tells you for past lives. You have artistic and creative talents that desire expression. This card comes to you as a sign that you would do well in an occupation related to the arts. It also indicates that you were involved in the arts in prior lifetimes, which can explain your natural talents in the present, which you have many. So that may be your dance. That may be why it's there. All right, so that is Robin. I'm going to pull one for Brittany. Well, we're so glad you're here, Brielle. Brittany. Brittany has an imprisonment or slavery. Let me read that to you. I'm not reading all of these. I'm just kind of reading, or else we'd never get through them. I'm just going to kind of read the first paragraph for these. This card signifies that you spent time imprisoned or in slavery. Your rights were taken from you, as well as your dignity and freedom. You are free now, but you still may harbor fears related to that lifetime. For example, you may feel claustrophobic in confined spaces or airplanes, or you may have developed a form of Stockholm syndrome where you feel empathetic towards those who abuse you. Interesting. I'm just going to read this. Channel your altruistic feelings and tendencies into helping society. Acts of kindness and compassion heal the individual as well as the world. Interesting, Brittany. All right, I'm going to pull one for Tom. Tom received health. So let me read about that for you, Tom. Your relationship to health and healing is influenced by other lifetimes. You may be suffering from a physical problem that was inflicted upon you during your last life, or perhaps you reincarnated so quickly that you didn't have time to deal with the underlying issues. Your physical health has caused you hardship, yet it has also taught you a deeper level of compassion than you could have learned in a healthy body. Interesting. Okay. If any of these really don't make sense to you and you would like more information, just Facebook me. I won't be able to get back to you tonight, but maybe a day or two. But I can always give you the gist of the rest of what's in the book. All right, I'm going to pull one for Kate. Kate got Celtic or Celtic. Interesting. Someone asked me if I would do a Celtic meditation, so I may look into that. You drew this card because you had a significant past life in a Celtic land and you continue to feel bonded to this culture. I wonder if Kate, let me know if you know that. Perhaps you've lived in or visited the Isle of Ireland, Scotland, Wales, or England. If so, you may have had a sense of déjà vu and be an Anglophile, a person who adores these cultures. You're also fascinated with Stonehenge and King Arthur's Camelot. Interesting, Kate. Don't know if that's true, but okay. I'm going to pull one for Katie. Katie got persecution and inquisition. Katie was a witch. Sorry, I don't mean to make light of that. I know that's really, there's a lot of people who have some traumatic stuff that they really feel was from being a witch in a past life. You drew this card as validation of your suspicions. You were accused of witchcraft, being a heathen, or other crimes in the past. You suffered greatly as a result of the ensuing persecution, and the fear has carried forward into this life. In the past, your character and behaviors were examined publicly, and you were blamed for crop failures and deaths that had nothing to do with you. Your neighbors and government said that you were casting spells, which was a capital offense. Interesting, Katie. Yeah, you know, I go back and forth with past lives. I think the idea of looking at old burdens, sometimes I have taken stuff that I have gotten in these cards from past lives, and I've also found things just in my childhood often that kind of made those seem larger than life. I think the thing with past life cards, one of the things that I find from these are something that is a deep-rooted issue or belief. So I often pull poverty. So I have like, and also, what's the one I always pull? I always pull, there's like a priestess one. I can't remember what it's called. But it's really these, like, it's this feeling of having a deep-seated, like, vow of poverty in my life. So I think you can look at it that way too, if you don't believe in past lives. Because, again, I'm on the fence. But I think sometimes it's useful information about this is a really deep-seated, deep-rooted issue for you. Okay, so this is for Amber. Amber, you have trust and faith. And let me read that to you. Isn't that a beautiful card? These cards are beautiful. This is another Doreen Virtue deck. I have this and the Healing Fairies is also Doreen Virtue. This is Doreen Virtue and Brian L. Weiss, which I believe is her husband. Yeah. Trust and faith. The question that you're asking today is connected to the levels of trust and faith that you have. These two qualities affect the amount of fulfillment, peace, and joy you experience. If you find that you don't trust yourself, others, or even life itself, the reason may be rooted in prior lifetimes. This card may also indicate a past lifetime where you were betrayed by a specific person who is in your current life. I'm just going to read you. You can forgive someone for past lifetimes and also follow your inner guidance to avoid him or her if it is warning you to distrust this person. Yes. Yeah, Katie, reach out to Sophie. Sophie could probably do a reading for you. So I'm just reading up on these. Yeah. Again, I often sometimes, again, stuff that comes up in our childhood often seems like fact. Things we learn as a child we're not able to see that that's something we learned and it may not be true. We will think of it as fact. So I think that's a lot of what these cards play out for me. So it just kind of depends. Kimberly. Interesting, Katie. See, you are a witch. But it's good to look at kind of, do you have this fear of being your true self and having people persecute you? You know, it may be really deep-rooted. So Kimberly has wisdom. She gets a unicorn. I don't think I've pulled that card before. Let's read it. It's the very last card in this book because it's W. This card indicates that you have tremendous wisdom and knowledge from prior lifetimes that seek to resurface now. Even if you've never thought of yourself as particularly wise, this card indicates that you learned important lessons and information that will serve you and others if it's reawakened now. Interesting. Anything else in here? It just says believe in yourself. This card asks you to believe in yourself and know that you have what it takes to tackle a career related to your true interests and passions. So you have that knowledge, believe in it. All right, I'm going to pull a card for Guy. Guy, I'm always interested in what Guy gets. Lessons and blessings. Guy always gets kind of interesting cards. Lessons and blessings. You drew this card as a sign that the situation you are currently experiencing is a result of prior lifetimes. Take a look at the other cards that you drew along. Okay, this card means that you learned important lessons which are bringing blessings to your present lifetime. Congratulations. You mastered how to turn painful events and memories into growth experiences. You can apply the same strength to every area of your life. I hope that is true, Guy. Okay. Shannon, let me pull a card for you. Hope you're still here. And then I will pull you a card, Brielle. Okay, so this is one I always pull, Shannon. This is vows. So that's the one I was talking about. That's like your vows of poverty. You drew this card because the vows that you took in prior lifetimes are blocking you in this one. Most likely you were a monk or a nun when you made these vows. I was a priestess, if my past life regressions are to be believed, which still continue to haunt you. I also, I like doing, I'm just going to say this, I like doing past life regressions, even if I'm not sure if they're true, because I think if they're not true, they're metaphors to teach me a lesson. So I think a lot of meditation stuff is metaphor. Okay, so sorry. Common examples may include a vow of poverty or self-denial, which could block your flow of abundance, a vow of chastity, which can inhibit your romantic or sexual life in the present, a vow of self-punishment, which can lead you to sabotage or hurt yourself. So, I don't know if I told you guys this, but in one of my past life regressions, I've done a few myself, and I've also gone and had one done in a group. I took a vow of poverty as a young girl in some sort of temple, and eventually became the high priestess and actually kind of stole from the temple. I kept a lot of things, jewels and things that were given to the temple. So not only did I take a vow of poverty, but then I broke it. And so we'll see if, so that it had lots of extra meaning. So Brielle, you have, ooh, I don't think I've pulled this before either, galactic. So maybe you're an alien, which is interesting because, so somebody told me today that I have Palladian origins. And I don't know if I believe in that either. But I had to do some research on the Pleiadians. So, this may be your first time on this planet. If so, you probably feel alien as if you don't belong. Earthly customs such as marriage and parenthood aren't natural for you, so you may not participate in them. You may also find most Earthlings to be very physically, psychologically, and emotionally violent. Your highly sensitive nature may be assaulted by such harsh energies. You just want to get along with everyone and be as kind as possible. Your compassion helps diffuse the world's tensions, making the entire universe a more peaceful place. So maybe you're Palladian too. If any of you guys know stuff about, like, I always find it's interesting whether I believe in it or not. Because again, I think if it's not true, sometimes as a metaphor, it's also really helpful for guiding. Again, same thing with astrology, whether you believe in it or not. So if any of you guys know anything about Palladians, I want to let me know on Facebook. All right, I'm going to now pull for some people who may not be here. V may be here, but she may be lurking because she's at work, and V has ships. Interesting. Let me see what ships are. And any of these, do feel free to private message me on Facebook if you want to talk more about these, because even though I say I may not believe in it, I'm very open-minded about it. I'm not ruling out anything in this world. So I'm not going to think you are a nut if you completely believe in it at all. So just saying that. Your prior lifetimes spent on ships bring this card to you today. As a former sailor, crew member, or ship passenger, you've had experiences at sea that have exerted an influence on the situation you're inquiring about. So you may have phobias, or positive reactions to the ocean, is what it says. Or you may have longings for travel, V. Oops, sorry. Okay, I'm going to do a reading for Mindy. Well, good, Brielle. I'm glad that really resonated with you. It's often rather uncanny. Okay, so Mindy also has imprisonment and slavery. So let me read a little bit more about that, because I didn't read all of it. Okay, your experience can also make you feel exquisitely compassionate towards those who suffer. You may devote yourself to defending underdogs and bringing more love and justice to this world. To heal any residual fears from a previous lifetime, remember the details of that past life to loosen the shackles and free yourself. And then I read the rest of that. Okay? So I don't know if that makes sense to you, Mindy. I am going to now pull for Samira, who asked for a reading, but it is the middle of the night for her. Samira, Father. I have pulled this card before. This card indicates that your father in this life was with you in prior lifetimes. Any issues you've had with your father likely began long ago. Look at the cards that you draw. Okay, that's not applicable because we're doing a one-card reading. He may not have been your father in those lives, though, as souls continue to reincarnate together in different roles. Let me read just a little bit more. By releasing the past, you subsequently heal your present and future. If you totally forgive your father and yourself, you no longer have to reincarnate with that soul unless you choose to. You retain only the lessons, growth, and love you shared. So I don't know if that makes sense to you, Samira. All right, I'm going to pull a card for Sophie, who will probably watch in the morning. I'm glad you're still here, Shannon. I wonder if vows make sense to you too. All right, Sophie also has galactic. So Sophie, you are also an alien, and you will probably like that. So let me read you more of this. So this is the rest of this for you as well, Brielle. You may find earthly relationships confusing and feel more at home with technology or energy healing. If you find other star people, you'll discover the kinship you're seeking. Since those from other planets tend to be shy and socially awkward, you may need to go where they gather, such as online message boards, computer courses, science fiction conventions, scuba diving trips, interesting scuba diving trips, and Reiki classes. If you're interested, there's lots of stuff on Facebook. If you go and type in Starseed, you will find lots of message boards and pages. Oh, good. I'm glad that was helpful, Robin. All right, I'm going to pull a card for Sarah for Medusa. I don't know if she's been around watching these, but I might as well in case she pops in to watch these. So Sarah, you have authority figures. I don't know if I've pulled that one before. In your previous and current lifetimes, you followed rules that were set down by authority figures, such as parents and teachers. I don't know, I think Medusa may have broken out of that. You may have also encountered intimidating or even cruel authority figures in the past. Perhaps you found yourself in the presence of those who were power-hungry or abusive. These situations can lead you to fear authority figures and succumb to their will in the present, although that may apply at your job, Sarah. So those are, hi, Marin. Oh, that's not how you say your name. Ooh, tell me how to pronounce your name. Marin? Interesting. Would you like a reading? I would love to do you a reading. We're glad you're here. I'm going to do a reading for you unless you tell me not to. All right. You also received ships. So I don't know if you've been watching, but you may have been a sailor, a passenger, a crew member on a ship. This may lead to longings for travel, and it may lead to either very negative or very positive feelings about the ocean and other bodies of water. So I don't know if that applies. There you go. But do tell me how to pronounce your name, if you want me to. For those of you who are new on here, I mentioned this before. So we will do Tuesday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time next week. And these comments do disappear once this goes up on YouTube, other than the live version. So anything you guys wrote in there will be gone. So you don't have to worry about that if you don't want the hundreds of people who will watch this afterwards to see your comments. So, well, I hope for some feedback on that meditation. If you guys would like to give me that in the Facebook group. As you know, I am a definite student of astrology, very beginning. So I find it very interesting, but I am not an authority by any means. So I'd be very interested to hear what you learned from your meditation, as it might give me more insight into astrology. And even if you don't think it's right, I'd still be interested in it, because I think sometimes those insights we get before we've done a lot of reading on it are often more accurate. Yes. Oh, it is Marin. Okay. Okay, good. Yeah. Marin, if we are not friends on Facebook, let me know. You can check out the Passion Project group and ask to join it, and I will put you in. I am going to sign off for the night. I am really tired. But I'm so glad to see you guys this week. I am so glad we're meeting weekly again. I really missed it when we took our month off. So we have next week, 2 more weeks, I think, and then this is week 4, right? Yeah, and then we'll do personalized meditations, which are always so fun, and we'll see what happens with that. Who knows? All right, I hope you guys are looking forward to July coming soon. I can't believe it's coming so soon. We'll have one more meeting before that, though. So, all right, good night, everybody. This was fun. Talk to you later.